We're back with Illinois Congresswoman Cheri Bustos. You know, you have a lot of issues remaining in your remaining 20 months in office. The Biden administration keeps adding on to its already ambitious agenda. The president introduces $1.8 trillion American Families Plan this week, hundreds of $billions for child care, paid family leave, universal preschool, and free community college are some of these primary features in this plan. Let's talk about the issues. How do you counter the argument that the president and the Democrats are maybe taking on more than they can chew?
I don't see it that way because we're coming out of this worldwide pandemic where we need to rebuild our country now. And this would be the largest infrastructure package since the Eisenhower days. But we have also let's get to just the roads and bridges part of it, or the locks and dams. We've let those deteriorate over the years. So we need an infusion from an economic perspective, but also to rebuild our country.
Well, I think people might agree well on the infrastructure plan, even though that's huge in itself at $2 trillion. But then you have the American Families Plan on top of that. It gets to be, the numbers get to be astronomical.
Well, it's worth noting that President Biden has a pay for. He's not saying let's do something big and grand and let's just keep adding to the debt and deficit. He's saying let's pay for this. And he's asking corporations to do their fair share, talking about getting rid of corporate loopholes, talking about the richest of the richest of the rich to pay their share. So it's not like we're throwing out this big package and not having any way to pay for it. It's a package and there's a way to pay for it.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because it is talking about the raising the tax rate of the highest bracket from 37% to almost 40%, 39.6%, as well as increasing the capital gains tax rate from the 15% it is now actually to, if you make more than $1 million, to the same ordinary income tax as the highest earners. Well, it claims it can also make $700 billion or earn $700 billion by letting the IRS, I guess, putting the resources in for them to enforce the tax code, which has actually been ignored for quite some time. I guess aren't all these non-starters in the Senate? I know you're in the House, but we have the 50-50 split in the Senate. Do Democrats have the ability to keep everybody in line to do it?
Well, if we don't stick together, it's not going to pass. I mean, that is the reality. We have a very slim majority in the House as well. I mean, we've got a few votes that we don't need, but it's a very slim majority. And in the Senate, as you know, it's 50-50. You cannot lose one Democrat in order for this to make its way through. And I think what the benefit to the American public on that is we do have to compromise. If you start here and say folks on the other side of the aisle are here, in order to get it through, there's got to be kind of a little inching together and hopefully making some real meaningful change.
Do you think it can happen, though? With that 50-50 line, you have more moderate Democrats in the Senate. You think of Joe Manchin, for example. He kind of sides with the conservatives quite a bit. He's always that swing vote right now.
Yeah, I think that if we don't need the 60 votes, and it sounds like there's a workaround on that.
That whole reconciliation process
yes.
that has been.
So as long as it's the 50 votes, I think what will happen is you will see the Biden administration continue to keep moving closer and closer and closer until we have a deal to make sure that we pass this. Our country needs it. We cannot continue to let our infrastructure deteriorate. We cannot come out of this this worst pandemic that we've had in a century without some big and bold changes.
Let's get to one last topic. You voted in favor recently, I think last month, of making Washington, D.C. a state. This might not get far in the Senate also. This is one of those challenges. Why do this? Is this just a way for the Democrats to try to get 2 more senators and shift the balance of power in their favor in the Senate?
No, I think it's a matter of the fact that there's 700,000 plus residents who have no representation. If you look at developed countries, this does not happen in their nation's capital. They have representation. And if any of us would put ourselves in the situation of being Washington, D.C. residents, I think we would want to make sure that we have a voice for us in the House and the Senate. And it really does get more down to that. I voted for it. I have to say I do not think that that is going to make it through the Senate. So I think the residents of Washington, D.C. are going to have to wait to have representation.
Illinois Congresswoman Cheri Bustos, always a pleasure to talk about things with you. Good luck with the remaining 20 months of your term.
Thank you, Jim.
Still to come, Reynolds refund. Iowa's governor rejects almost $100 million in pandemic relief money from the federal government. What to make of that move? For the record.